So tonight we're going to test this Ridgid impact driver and find out if it stands up as good as the drill did. So stick around. Tested the Ridgid drill against the Hercules and the Milwaukee drill, and it shocked me. It did pretty good. So I was pretty impressed with the drill. The only thing, there's two things I don't like about the drill. That being the chuck is trash, and it doesn't have any type of indicator to let you know how full or how empty the battery is, which could be a problem for me. May not be a problem for you, but I don't understand why they wouldn't put some kind of indicator on it. But you know, I guess they was trying to make it as cheap as they could. So, but with that being said, it's actually a pretty powerful drill. It did pretty good. Oh, and before we go any further, the Hercules drill, I thought I broke it. It came back online, so it was just overheated. So it survived the trip. I thought I was gonna have to go warranty it out, and I think I was still within 90 days, but it's strong, it's running good. So like I said, it was hot in here. It was 90 something degrees. I was murdering these drills, so it was bound. I'm surprised none of the other ones shut down, but they all held up pretty good. I mean, all things considered, I was doing them pretty bad, so I think they all did pretty good. And like I said, I chose the Ridgid. I thought the Ridgid did good. The Milwaukee, I would probably pick the Milwaukee. The Milwaukee did good, but it is a little cheaper than the Ridgid. But as I said, you know, I like the Ridgid. You get the lifetime warranty. It's $60. It's about the same price as the Milwaukee. It's cheaper than the Hercules. If it wasn't for that chuck and the indicator, that would be a top-notch drill. I think it would do a lot of people a lot of good. But anyway, enough with the drill. Tonight we're going to check these impact drivers. Now I want to talk about the specs on these, because I went through the specs and surprisingly they all claim to have pretty similar specs. So let's go over them real quick. The Ridgid claims a torque of 1,100 inch-pounds. It claims a speed of 2,000 RPM, and it claims 3,000 impacts per minute, or IPM. The Hercules claims 1,000 inch-pounds of torque, a speed of 2,500, and IPM of 3,030. Now, surprisingly, the Milwuakee Fuel isn't much better spec-wise compared to these two. It claims 1,200 inch-pounds torque, 2,650 RPM, and 3,550 impacts per minute. So it's pretty close to these. Now tonight, I'm just going to test power on these. We're going to do a quick speed test. I don't have any bolts to really measure the speed. We really need some longer bolts. I need to run them through a lot of wood and see how far it can go down, how powerful they are. But I don't have that, so what I'm going to do is we're going to test the max power on these. I'm going to torque a bolt to the max inch-pounds that each one of these claim, and then I'll try to exceed it, and we'll see if it can do what they claim or do more, or if it can only do less. And we'll check that, and as I said, I'll run a couple bolts down with these, but as you'll see, I did a couple things off camera, and as you'll see, they're pretty similar with what I got. They're all pretty fast. They all seem to be pretty good. I'll show you one thing that I like about the Fuel better than the Hercules and the Ridgid. If you notice here, I take this bit and I can press it in the Fuel and it locks. So I can load with one hand, and to unload, you have to obviously pull the collar and pull it off. But with the Hercules and the Ridgid, it doesn't allow you to do that. You have to pull the collar to get it to lock in. So I do like that feature about the Milwaukee a lot better than these. So that is one advantage I do like about the Fuel right off the bat. And not to mention, it has the speed control, whereas the Hercules and the Ridgid doesn't have any type of speed control beside the variable speed trigger that you can use to control the speed. So that is another advantage that the Fuel has. I weighed all of these, and they all, I'm not going to do it on camera, but I'll tell you, they all weigh within 1 to 2 grams of each other. So they're similar in weight, and if we stack them up, as far as size goes, we can see that the Ridgid and the Milwaukee set at an angle, which if you watch some of my other videos, I explained about that. It allows you to push down so you can get more torque. This here, I have to keep my wrist straight. So that's less power that I can push in. See, now I can go down, and that will give me more power to push forward in. So it sets more comfortable to me than having to keep my wrist upright like this to keep the drill or the impact driver straight. With this here, I tilt down, it's more comfortable. So I do like that better on both of these than this. But as you can see with the Ridgid, it is a lot bigger than these other two. The Hercules seems to be the smallest. But if we measure it from the back here, they're pretty similar. So it could just be the angle that the Milwaukee's setting at. And also, I don't like about the Hercules, which is how the DeWalt's are made, is how thin the handle is down here. Seems to me like that's its weak point, that it could break there. But other than that, from what I did the video on the Hercules last night that I'll post before this, and I'm actually pretty impressed with this impact driver. It's got some serious power. It's fast, as we'll see. And all in all, I think it's pretty well built. I like it better than the drill at this point. So let's go ahead. Let's get these tests set up. We'll make this video as quick as possible. We'll run a couple bolts in. We can just see the speed. I'll try to time it, but it happens so fast because of the size bolts I got. We're looking at 2 to 3 seconds per one. So, but we'll get an idea, and you'll see there's no big difference in the speed with what I got. Now, if I had a longer bolt to run it down further, then we could get a better glimpse at which one was faster and which one was more powerful as far as that goes. But to compensate, I'm just going to do a quick speed test, and then we're going to do the torque test and see which one of these can do what it claims, or which one of them's full of crap. So let's get over here and get this set up. Since the Hercules comes with a 2 amp hour battery as normal, I'll use a 2 amp hour battery with the other tools to try to even the odds some, because using a higher amp hour battery is going to give you longer battery life, but it will increase your power slightly. So I don't want any confusion here. But as you're going to see with these tests here, I'm going to start a stopwatch at 5. I'm going to go. I'm going to drive it all the way down through both of these 2x4s, and we'll see how long it takes, and we'll compare them. So starting it now. Took about 4 seconds. Same thing with the Hercules. About 4 seconds. The Hercules probably took a little less time than the Ridgid did. I think the Hercules, it looked like to me around 3.5 seconds. But I mean, that's pretty close regardless. It's not going to be any gaping holes here. Milwaukee took about 2.5, 3 seconds, so you see it was faster. Is that much to write home about? You know, probably not. As I said, if I had a longer bolt running through more wood, we could get a better idea here. The Milwaukee probably is going to be faster, but driving something like that, you save a second here and there. It's not nothing humongous, but it is something. So it looked like there, it looked like the Ridgid took the longest, then it was the Hercules, then it was the Milwaukee, as we would expect, a little faster. So now we're going to go ahead and check torque on these. I just realized on the last test that I didn't switch the Milwaukee to the 2 amp hour battery, so I'm going to do it again with the 2 amp hour battery to see if it makes a difference. I'm not really so much worried about comparing these tools to this, as I would expect this to be a superior tool, but we need to make sure regardless. So I'm going to do it again real quick with the 2 amp hour battery. We're going to see if it makes a difference. Remember last time it took about 2.5 seconds. It did look like it took slightly longer. So that did even it out a little bit. So there's proof there, I think. I think it took around 3 seconds that time. It looked like it took about 2.5 the time before. So there's proof right there that that 4 amp hour battery does give it a slight edge in power. So I got the next test set up. Let's switch camera angles and let's get on and check this torque out. Now, if you remember from my other videos, we was trying to loosen this nut with the impact drivers and we wasn't having any luck. And I said, well, we're going to need to get a 1/2 inch impact and it's probably going to struggle a little bit. Well, let's find out. It might not struggle. This thing is pretty powerful. So I went and got the DeWalt and we'll see if it can get this loose. So you can see it was pretty tight. I mean, it didn't struggle, but it did take it a second. So we wouldn't expect those impact drivers to get something like that loose. I mean, we're looking at, I think the Hercules is around 81, 82 foot-pounds of torque. The Ridgid's claiming 91, 92 foot-pounds of torque, and the Milwaukee's claiming 100. So the Milwaukee is supposed to be more powerful. So what I'm going to do here is I got the digital torque wrench out, and what we're going to do is I'm going to tighten this down. We're going to start off with the Hercules. I'm going to tighten it down to 1,000 inch-pounds of torque, which is what it claims on the box, and we'll see if it can get it loose. This is actually a really nice torque wrench. It's expensive though, $630 for this. So take it how you want to take it. You can call me an idiot. I probably deserve to be called one. But it's really nice. Speaking of digital torque wrenches, tonight I made a post. I seen the Quinn digital torque wrench they just came out with at Harbor Freight. I believe it was $169. It looked all right. I mean, it's probably pretty nice for real. If you guys want me to check that out, I might be able to check it out for you. Now, there's the guy, Real Tool Reviews. He did the Icon torque wrench, and he actually had a pretty good test to test the accuracy of all these torque wrenches and everything. And, you know, he's got some pretty nice equipment. I don't have some nice equipment. You see what I'm working with here. But I could do my best for you, you know. I'll give you a different point of view. I don't know that guy's background or whatever. He seems like a pretty nice guy, but I can give you a different point of view than him in a lot of cases, I'm sure. You can see 1,000 inch-pounds. Did you guys get a shot of that? Let me see. No. I'll show you a shot on the next one of how this works. This thing's actually pretty nice. And I'll show you how I like, you know, people, if you're using a torque wrench, man, I mean, you can look up a lot of videos. I'm sure there's a lot of videos on it, but you don't want to have any jerking motions. It wants to be, you want to make it smooth because it's hard to get something just right, and you jerk something, you're not going to get an accurate reading, man, at all. All right, now let's see if this can get it off. 1,000 inch-pounds. This is the max it claims. It got it. It struggled with it, but it got it. Harbor Freight was not lying, boys. All right, next, the Ridgid claims 1,100 inch-pounds. So let me bump up the torque wrench. We'll switch angles. I want you to see how this torque wrench works. You'll watch this handle will change different colors. Green, see how it lights up more. Now it's yellow, it's telling me to get close. There's actually little indicator lights in here. There's 1, 2 lights. I'm actually a little bit over 1,100, but let's see if it can do it. As you've seen, it changes from yellow to red to let you know when you're getting close. It got it. I think I was closer to about 1,200 inch-pounds according to that torque wrench on that one. We'll get you another shot of how that works. I'll get you a better shot. Now the Milwaukee, as I said, it claims 1,200, so we're gonna bump her up. Anymore, man, you have to have a digital torque wrench to do anything. I mean, everything is done in angles now. I mean, you can guess and get close, but if you want something accurate, you're gonna need a digital torque wrench to give you some proper angles, to know exactly what you're doing. You could guess, just like for instance, when I did the head gasket on my Chevy truck, and I did this one of my first videos I ever did, it actually calls for a degree when torquing the head bolts, but there is another pattern that people do where they just use just foot-pounds, and that's what I did in that. And it's not as accurate, but it obviously works. See here, maybe 1,200 inch-pounds. Now you watch here, I'll get you a better shot at what happens here. Even pushes. Now stop, it's 1,200. 1,209, pretty close. See if it can get it loose. Got it. You see, I did it pretty easy, actually. A lot easier than the other two had. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. Okay, what I'm going to do is, we seen the Hercules struggle to get off the 1,000 inch-pounds of torque, and then we seen the Ridgid struggle to get off the 1,100 inch-pounds of torque, and then we seen the Milwaukee Fuel get off the 1,200 inch-pounds of torque with a fair amount of ease. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put the torque wrench on 1050. I'm going to split the difference, and then I'm going to try to break it loose with the Hercules. And if I'm unable to do that, then I'm going to try to break it loose with the Ridgid. And we'll see if one of them can do it. $10.50. There we go. I'm gonna start off with everybody's favorite, the big Hercules. Hercules. It's not gonna do it. Try the big boy Ridgid now. It ain't gonna do it now. Could be because of the battery being low. Tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna switch out, put this full 4 amp hour battery on the Ridgid. But before I do, switch out full battery on the Herc. See if give the Hercules one more shot. I don't have another 2 amp hour Ridgid, so I just have to use this. We'll see if it makes any difference. There it goes. So, I mean, it seemed like the Ridgid may be a little bit more powerful. Obviously, it did do 100 inch-pounds more off the rip with 2 full batteries. So, I think that's going to be it here on the test. And let's go ahead and bring you back up here, and we'll give you my final thoughts on this, and we'll discuss what's going to happen next. Well, man, all in all, but all 3 of these drivers are pretty good. They're all pretty similar, man. They all did what they claimed they could do as far as torque wise. The Ridgid did 1100, Hercules 1000, Milwaukee 1200. The Milwaukee was stronger, you know, by a few foot-pounds, but they're all pretty similar. I mean, they're all decent. Now, I like this Hercules driver. I am pretty impressed by it. It's pretty powerful, pretty fast. I like it better than I do the drill. Not a big fan of the drill. The drill just, it hasn't performed for me. It really hasn't. I mean, every tool I put it up against, the tool smoked it. So it hasn't performed the way I thought it would. Now, if I had to pick a winner, then, man, I mean, you know, I'm going to pick this Ridgid. I mean, it was so similar to even the Fuel that you have to pick it. You got $120, you get drill, driver, 4 amp hour battery, 2 amp hour battery. $120, man. Lifetime warranty. I mean, you can't lose, man. I would recommend this to anybody. I'd recommend it to a professional on a limited basis. You could use it. It would do 90% of the jobs, you know? You know, when I like 12-volt tools because when it comes to smaller things like drills, drivers, whatnot. Now, I do want to check out the Milwaukee 12-volt half-inch impact and 3/8 impact. If they can do what they claim they can do, be pretty powerful tools, man. But I'm looking for the smallest, lightest tool possible that's going to be the easiest for me to handle, take up the less footprint in my toolbox, tool bag, job box, wherever else I need it, my tool bag, my pack out box. I want to have the smallest tool that can do the most jobs as possible. So I do like the 12-volt tools, trying to step my 12-volt tool game up. And I like these. I like these Ridgid. I want to check the brushless 18-bolt tools out, and we'll see how good they are, man. But let me know what you think about these, man. Let me know what you think about that deal. Lifetime warranty, $120. I mean, to me, it's a pretty good deal. You know, you look at the Milwaukee, you get the driver, 4 amp hour battery, 2 amp hour battery, the hard shell case, or the bag in some cases for $150. You look at the Hercules, you get a 2 amp hour battery, charger, driver for $65. If you don't count the warranty in. If you want to buy the warranty, you're looking at $80, $85. So Ridgid is the cheapest. It performed just about as good as the Milwaukee, better than the Hercules by a little bit. You know, it wasn't much. It's not like a leaps and bounds better tool. This is a pretty good tool. If you like Hercules, if you like that tool, there's nothing wrong with it, man. You can get it. It's going to do a lot of your jobs. Nothing wrong with it, in my opinion. So I'm going to go ahead and end this, man. It's like 11 something tonight. I'm tired, but I'm going to try to shoot another video real quick. I'm going to try to pump this out, man. I've been going since 6 this morning. And, you know, I'm going to work. I'm going to try to get this done. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I appreciate if you go down and subscribe, because I'm going to keep pumping them out. I'm going to keep getting better. I'm going to keep trying harder. I'm going to keep doing what I got to do. And hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully you learn something. Hopefully you teach me something, man. So I appreciate it. Till next time, stay real.